Hi, do you ever wonder what is the best way to save for retirement and if investing is safe? Watch this video to see what the book Investing for Dummies can teach you.
Hey everyone, today we're going to crack open Investing for Dummies and pull out the absolute must-know lessons. For anyone who's ever thought, I really should be doing something with my money, but then had no idea where to even begin.
So I want to kick things off with a question that, on the surface, seems kind of silly. Is your money safe in the bank? Of course it is, right? That's what we're all taught. But what if the biggest threat to your savings isn't some guy in a ski mask, but something totally invisible?
And that leads us right into our first big idea. We're going to talk about the silent thief that's creeping up on your savings, what the book calls purchasing power risk.
So what's with this number minus 39%? Well, according to the book, it's pretty staggering. If you had a pile of cash and you tucked it away 25 years ago and inflation just chugged along at a pretty normal 2% a year, that same pile of cash today would buy you 39% less stuff. It's the same amount of money, sure, but a huge chunk of its actual power is just gone.
And this is where that abstract number gets really personal. This is a story from the book about a woman named Teresa. She retired, thought she had it all figured out with her fixed income. But then 15 years go by, the price of groceries, gas, everything, it all went up. Her income stayed exactly the same. So that comfortable retirement suddenly became a source of major stress. That right there is inflation in the real world.
And this table really lays it all out, doesn't it? This is that purchasing power risk in black and white. You can see, even at a low-sounding 2% inflation, your money loses almost a fifth of its value in just a decade. Bump that up to 4% and you've lost nearly a third. This is exactly why simply saving cash just doesn't cut it for long-term goals like retirement.
Okay, so if stashing cash away is a losing game long-term, what's the alternative? Well, the great news is the book says the entire complicated-sounding world of investing really just boils down to two simple ideas. And here they are: lending and owning. That's it. Seriously, every single investment you could possibly make pretty much falls into one of these two categories. You're either lending your money out to get paid back with interest, or you're owning a piece of something that can actually grow in value.
So let's look at lending first. The easiest way to think about this is that you get to be the bank. You're lending your money to a government or a big company, that's what a bond is, or you're just putting it in a high-yield savings account. It's usually safer, it gives you a nice, steady income, which is perfect for short-term goals. The only catch? Your potential to really grow that money is capped.
And then you've got the other side of the coin, ownership. This is when you buy a tiny piece of an actual company. That's a stock or a share. Or maybe you buy a piece of property. With ownership, you're not getting a fixed interest payment. Instead, you're getting a piece of the action. You're participating in the growth. This is how you really fight back against inflation over the long haul. But yeah, it does come with more of those short-term ups and downs.
Okay, and those ups and downs lead us straight to the one word that just freaks everybody out when it comes to investing: risk. The fear of losing your hard-earned money is completely real, but the book makes a fascinating argument that maybe we're thinking about risk all wrong.
The author uses this fantastic analogy. Picture someone at a barbecue who won't touch a hamburger because they're worried about some super rare bacteria, but then they'll happily hop in an old clunker of a car that doesn't even have airbags. You see? We tend to obsess over these dramatic but very unlikely risks, while totally ignoring the much more probable dangers we face every day.
And look at this chart just says it all. The book points out that statistically, you are about 110 times more likely to die in a car crash than a plane crash. So, which one are most people afraid of? Flying. And why is that? Well, plane crashes are huge, dramatic news events, and you feel like you have zero control. It proves our perception of risk isn't always based on reality.
So, let's bring this all back to our money. The book is asking us to apply that same logic. We're terrified of a big, scary, headline-grabbing market crash, but are we even paying attention to the slow, quiet, and pretty much guaranteed risk that inflation is making our savings worth less and less year after year?
All right, so if we're ready to get in the game, what are the actual tools we need? Well, it's way simpler than you probably think. There are really just three basic building blocks, and they tie right back to that whole lending versus owning idea. First up, we have the stock, a share. This is your classic ownership play. You're not just buying a ticker symbol on a screen, you're buying a tiny slice of a real business. And if that business does well, makes more money, and grows, then your slice of the pie gets more valuable too.
Next up, the bond. This is your go-to lending tool. You're essentially giving a loan to a government or a big corporation. In exchange, they promise to pay you back your original investment on a certain date. Plus, they'll give you these regular interest payments along the way. It's designed to be the stable, predictable part of your plan.
And finally, we've got the fund. Now, this is the real game changer for most of us. A fund is basically just a basket that holds tons of different investments all at once. So instead of trying to find the one single company that's going to be a winner, you can buy one fund and instantly own tiny pieces of hundreds of companies. It's what they call diversification, all in one easy package.
All right, we're at our final section, and honestly, this might be the most important part of this whole thing. The book suggests this is the single most powerful secret to succeeding, especially when you're just starting out. It's the key to getting over that fear and really unlocking the power of those ownership investments.
So take a look at this. This is what scares people, right? This chart, based on data in the book, shows you how the stock market can perform in any single year. And as you can see, it is all over the map. Some years are incredible, some are just awful. This short-term craziness, this volatility, is what makes people feel like it's just a big casino.
But, and this is the most important but you'll hear today, that crazy roller coaster ride starts to smooth out a lot. When you zoom out, what looks like total chaos from day to day starts to show a really powerful trend over time.
And boom, here it is. This is the big secret. This chart shows what happens to your chances of making money the longer you stay invested. Over 1 year, it's a bit of a coin toss. But look what happens over 5, 10, or 20 years. The probability of a positive return goes way, way up. The short-term bumps and bruises get smoothed out by the long-term growth. The ultimate secret isn't picking the perfect investment. It's the simple power of time. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Listen to this quote from Peter Lynch, an absolute legend in the investing world. He says even he can't predict what the market's going to do tomorrow. His whole point is that the goal isn't to time the market, it's to have time in the market.
So we're going to leave you with this one final thought. Once you understand how inflation silently eats away at your savings, the whole question changes, doesn't it? It stops being about whether investing is risky. It's about realizing you can't avoid risk entirely. You just have to choose which one you'd rather take. The short-term, visible risk of market ups and downs, or the quiet but very certain risk of doing nothing at all.
If you found this video helpful, click subscribe below to be notified when I make more videos.
If you would like to receive monthly reports and advice on what to invest in, then click the link to the Wealth Builders Club below. Thank you for your time, and now it is time for my disclaimer. Some people may make a lot of money with this information, while most won't make a dime. There is no guarantee that you will make money, and any links that you click will afford me a commission. This helps me bring you more videos like this one. Have a good day.